tonight. Welcome to the Board Mayor and Alderman meeting. I'll get my microphone over here and get straight. For Tuesday, June the 25th, 2019, we're going to begin with an invocation tonight, and I'll ask that Vice Mayor Barnhill offer the invocation, and we'll stand for that. And following that, I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. So please stand.
Would you bow with me? Heavenly Father, we come to you in prayer tonight. Thank you for this great nation that we live in. For all the many freedoms that we enjoy, we know and recognize that we are truly a blessed nation. We give you thanks for these blessings. We also ask for those who defend our freedoms, the soldiers, the firemen, the policemen, the first responders. We ask that you be with them as they go about their business. We know that many times it is a hardship on families. We ask that you be with the families of these first responders and all the ones that protect our freedoms. Father, we also ask your blessings upon our national leaders. Give them the wisdom to make the decisions that direct this country and to direct this world. We ask that you be with each of us tonight as aldermen. Give us spiritual wisdom and guidance. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. The next item on the agenda are citizen comments for items that are not on the agenda. As is our procedure, we require a speaker card. I have no speaker cards for items that are not on the agenda. We'll move on to communications from Williamson County Commission. I have none, and I don't see anyone here from the Williamson County Commission. We'll move on to approval of the minutes from the June 11th, 2019 work session and Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. I would entertain a motion. Alderman Peterson.
Move for approval.
Appropriate motion.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Berger. Any discussion? Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll now go on to recognitions. I have one recognition tonight that I want to make, and that would be that we have a new president among us. And the Tennessee City Managers Association over the weekend, Mr. Stuckey was elected president to lead all the city managers in the state of Tennessee. So we're very proud of him and the leadership that he's offered and offers to that particular group, and also the leadership that he offers us as a city. So we're very proud of you, Mr. Stuckey, and any way we can help you with that job, let us know.
Thanks.
Are there any miscellaneous reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda, and all items under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine nature by the governing body, and they will be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. Tonight, we're considering items number 19 through 30. Appropriate motion.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Seeing none, ready to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. Item number 3. Before we get started, I will make a ground rule statement about public hearing. Before I get to items number 8, I don't anticipate a lot of I have no public comment cards for any other public hearing tonight. So prior to number 8, I will state the ground rules to make sure that everybody understands what we do in public hearings. So this is a public hearing, consideration of initiating the annexation process and draft plan of services, resolution 2019-34 for the annexation of 4331 Long Lane. Is anybody from staff going to speak to that?
Okay. For item number 3, the property being considered, would you like me to read the title of the item?
I just read it, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
you continue
Okay.
on.
The property being considered is contiguous to the city limits in the southwest corner of the property and was within the city's urban growth boundary. The subject property is within the regional commerce design concept. This property is a portion of the owner and developer's larger master plan for hotels, apartments, office, and retail. These type of land uses, and the mix of them in a master plan development, would be generally supported by Envision Franklin, provided that they're in a layout that provides appropriate transitions to existing single-family neighborhoods per Envision Franklin policies. Portions of the subject property are within the hillside overlay and the hillside overlay buffer and must plan to be part of preserved open space and community amenities. Also, Connect Franklin identifies this property to include significant portions of the Goose Creek bypass extension over to Long Lane. Therefore, staff recommends approval of Resolution 2019-34.
Is there anyone who wants to speak to this body concerning this consideration for initiating the annexation process and draft plan of services? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Would entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Appropriate motion, seconded by Alderman Speedy. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 4, consideration of ordinance 2019-05, an ordinance to rezone 4.82 acres from light industrial district and neighborhood commercial to general commercial district for the property located in the northwest quadrant of Downs Boulevard and Columbia Avenue, 1504, 1536, 1540 Columbia Avenue. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Appropriate motion by Alderman Martin,
Second.
seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 5, consideration of ordinance 2019-14, an ordinance to create Title IX, Chapter 11 of the Franklin Municipal Code establishing regulations for operating a mobile food vending business within the city of Franklin, Tennessee.
Move for approval.
Second.
Appropriate motion, seconded by Alderman Bransford. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 6, this is consideration ordinance 2019-15, an ordinance amending the City of Franklin Municipal Code Appendix A, comprehensive fees and penalties, Chapter 9, business peddlers, solicitors, taxi cabs, pool rooms, licensings, petty cabs, et cetera, to establish a mobile food vending permit fee.
Move for approval.
Appropriate motion,
Second.
seconded by, who was that?
Me.
Alderman McClendon. Any discussion? Seeing none, ready to vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll go on to item number 7. This is a public hearing, consideration of Resolution 2019-37, a resolution approving a revised development plan for Carruthers Crossing West PUD subdivision with one modification of developmental standards, tree canopy for the property located north of Liberty Pike and west of Carruthers Parkway.
Thank you, Mayor. The original development plan of Carruthers Crossing West was approved at the October 9th, 2018 meeting. The original entitlements are not being modified. The development plan's revision's sole purpose is to request a modification of standards to reduce the tree canopy requirements outlined in the zoning ordinance. In lieu of meeting the city's standards for tree canopy cover, the applicant is requesting a modification of standards to largely reduce the required tree canopy retention for this site and instead proposing a longer-term reforestation plan for mitigation. The modification of standards request is not supported by the adopted guiding principles of Envision Franklin, nor the adopted purposes of the City of Franklin zoning ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends disapproval of the modification of standards and disapproval to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anyone want to speak to this body? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Would entertain a motion.
Move that we approve the modification of standards.
Second.
Let me get a understanding to make sure. Typically, we vote to approve and then vote to approve the modification of standards. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Overall.
is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Berger.
Move that we approve the requested modification of development standards as to the tree canopy.
Second.
Appropriate motion, seconded by Alderman Berger. Okay, we'll now vote on the modification of standard. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll now vote for the entire motion with the modification of standard. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll move on now to item 8, and this is where I'll now give some ground rules. Here is the usual thing that we do. First, we allow staff to give a presentation on the particular item that is being discussed in the public hearing, and they will give a description of what each item entails and give their recommendation. I will then open the floor up for public comments for the public hearing. Prior to the meeting, you've already completed speaker cards and have specified the item numbers that you want to speak to. I will not be accepting any additional speaker cards. I will call you in the order in which I pick up the speaker cards. I usually will call a number of names out to be a little more efficient so that you're lined up to make your comments. Because there are a few items that are related to the same project, pay particular attention to each item as it's called, and make sure you're speaking on the item that you're coming up about. We don't want to be talking about zoning whenever we're talking about the development plan, is the example I would give. Because of the volume of speaker cards I have tonight, I'm going to allow 1 minute for each speaker. I do have a clock in the room, and we'll have a bell in the room to let you know when your 1 minute is ended. I will ask you to wrap up your comments so that we can move on to the next speaker. Before you begin, please state your name and your address. I would ask that you be civil, be kind, and we're doing the best job as a Board of Mayor and Aldermen to make our decisions and to hear all comments pertinent to the issues we'll be discussing. I would encourage you to not make disparaging remarks to or about others. I would ask that there not be a mass applause or boos or any other mass noises be made related to any of the votes that we take or any of the comments that are made. You will have your time to speak. When mass noise does happen, it disrupts the ability for the board to hear and listen to all the comments. Above all, as we teach our children in school, just be nice. After all the speakers have completed, I will allow up to 5 minutes for the applicant to speak or to answer specific questions for the board and for the board only. I will then close the public hearing and the matter will be before the board. There will be no further public comments after the public hearing is closed on that particular item. To be clear again, after I close the public hearing, there will be no further comments from the audience on that item. You may not like some of the comments that are made, but that doesn't give you the right to then start trying to comment or narrate about what's happening. Again, no mass noises from the crowd as the board hears and deliberates. As you've spoken tonight, one of the problems sometimes we have is as people leave, they like to congregate right at those doors. It's a fire hazard, number one. And number two, that noise from you discussing what's happened in the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting oftentimes filters into this room. So if you want to speak and discuss, I would ask that you go further down the hall or further toward the entry doors. So we're now to item 8, and this is a public hearing. Consideration of Resolution 2019-21, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the annexation of the Bennett property consisting of plus or minus 7 acres located along Long Lane, south of Long Lane, and adjoining the city limits east of Williamson County Agricultural Center by the city of Franklin, Tennessee. Amy?
Thank you, Mayor. The plan of service outlines how infrastructure will need to be provided to serve the proposed annex property of 6.99 acres. To summarize, the property is within the Mill Crofton service area for water. Reclaimed water will not be required to be brought to the site. The property is within the Goose Creek Sewer Basin, and the owners will be required to extend sewer to serve the property. Any developments will have to comply with city standards for stormwater, streets, and traffic control. No additional manpower is required for fire, police, or garbage services. Therefore, staff recommends approval to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Thank you. I'm going to call out the people that have listed speaker cards for this item. Brittany Mullins, and if you'll just line up at the podium. Jennifer Gillette, Dwayne Allison, and Shelley Moeller.
Hi there.
Please go ahead.
Perfect.
Name and address, and now you're on the timer.
Great. My name is Brittany Mullins. My address is 1016 Neilcrest Circle, Spring Hill, Tennessee, 37174. I wanted to speak on this
Put your
specific.
microphone down. Thank you.
Is that good? Okay.
It
I
says
want
Spring Hill, Tennessee.
Spring Hill, Tennessee. Yes.
You
is
said
where I live.
Franklin, but you're Spring
Oh,
Hill.
yeah, Spring Hill, 37174.
Thank you.
I was hoping I wouldn't go first, to be honest, but.
I'll give you a few extra seconds. Go ahead.
Perfect, thank you. I wanted to speak to this specific subject mainly due to the fact that I am actually the CEO of a local nonprofit as well. So I'm very aware of the necessary needs that come with that. And being also a specific person who's received help from the Refuge Center, I wanted to speak to the fact that every single person in this room could benefit from what the Refuge Center has provided, and the fact that we could limit them the opportunity to receive the chance to serve more and more people would just be such a loss to the city in general. So just hoping that that can make a difference tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Gillette. I'm the co-founder of the Refuge Center for Counseling. My address is actually confidential. I've gone to great lengths to keep it private for safety reasons. But I would just want to say that at the Refuge Center, we live by the principle of love your neighbor as you love yourselves.
If I can interrupt you, are you going to address the plan of services?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
the services that we provide.
No, the services, sewer, water,
Oh.
things of this nature.
Then I
That's-
signed up for the wrong list, but yes, we,
You go ahead and finish speaking.
Sure. I'm not going to talk about toilets, but I just want to speak to the fact that we are going to be honorable neighbors if we are able to move forward with this project. That's the main thing I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Alderman. I'm Dr. Dwayne Allison. I own approximately 10 acres, just less than 100 miles, not miles, yards south of the proposed site. My comment this evening is to ask you to pay particular notice this evening, if you will, please, to those speaking, whether they actually own property in the 37064 zip code, where taxes are being paid and so forth. Because if not, they may give you their 2 cents, but that may be all you'll get. Because it's my understanding, as a nonprofit, they won't be paying property taxes, but they'll still require the services, the expense of the services, where those of us who are paying taxes in that area have been doing so and will continue to do so. So please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shelley Moeller. My address is 4655 Harpeth Paytonsville Road, Thompson Station, Tennessee. My zip code is not 37064, it's 37179, but I pay a lot of taxes in the city of Franklin. This property, and you all know that, this property is a perfect location for the Refuge Center, its mission, and its purpose. The Refuge needs a property that offers tranquility and privacy, and of course, the Refuge. The Refuge Center needs property with an easy access to I-65 for our clients. And the addition, the city has identified this area as one of the highest potential growth sectors over the next few years, and putting the Refuge in the heart of where the growth is needed. The research shows us that the hour after the clinical hour of counseling, that is really has the biggest impact on the patient. And so that's what we're going to get out of the counseling hour. And so this is why we need the safe haven for the refuge center. Thank you for listening.
I now declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Speedy. Thank you. Any discussion on the plan of services? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Mr. Mayor, I would just-
Alderman Berger.
Sorry. I would just say, plan of services is always a good idea, even whether you move forward or not on annexation or zoning. Gives the city and the applicant the information needed for then and in the future for property in those areas. So I'm always very supportive of plan of services for that reason.
All right, they don't want to. Sorry about that.
That's right.
Mr. Stuckey was asking me about the applicant, and I told him that the applicant said he had no intention to speak unless there were questions. So I just wanted to clarify that, what the conversation was about. So everybody's made their comments. You want to?
I just want to comment about, that the staff made about the sewage that will be provided by the applicant. The sewage, because that's part of service, is that putting that line in will be provided by whom?
Sewer service.
They'll have to install one.
The applicant.
has to run the line.
The applicant. I just want to make it for the record that the applicant will be responsible for that part of the service, according to what staff mentioned. Okay.
Okay. Ready to vote?
I do have one question, and it may have to go to the applicant. Where will the sewer line have to go?
As submitted with our development plan, we are showing 3 options. The city's preferred route, what is shown currently on their sewer master plan, goes from the refuge center site along Long Lane and then follows a conveyance over to what is known as the Moss PUD. There is a manhole currently at the intersection of the entrance to the Moss PUD and Long Lane.
Will any easements, right-of-way, or other takings have to happen to go that route?
Absolutely. Well, their easements will be necessary, yes.
Will
And
those-
we've been in conversation with those landowners. One of those landowners requested annexation vote this afternoon.
Okay. The other 2 options? You said there were 3?
The other 2 options would be potentially to go to the north. We understand that the neighbors who are directly across the street from us are not in favor of that, but those are physical options. In other words, the sewer does go gravity downhill to manholes that are adjacent to or within Lad Park.
Okay, so is there a way that you can sewer the property without obtaining easements, right-of-way, or property from unwilling people?
Yes, we believe so, through the city, by following the city's sewer master plan.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 9. This is a public hearing. Consideration Resolution 2019-30, a resolution to annex property along Long Lane, Refuge Center PUD subdivision Bennett property consisting of plus or minus 7 acres for the property located south of Long Lane, east of Williamson County Agricultural Center, and adjoining the city limit within the southeast part of the Franklin urban growth boundary. Amy, would you talk about the annexation, please?
I'd love to. The site proposed to be annexed is adjacent to the City of Franklin's southeastern boundary, immediately east of the Williamson County Agricultural Center. The property is within the city's urban growth boundary and designated in Envision Franklin as appropriate for regional commerce uses. Identifying this property as regional commerce was an intentional decision. This property is surrounded by adjacent regional commerce properties, as well as future roadway network improvements. Further, Envision Franklin looks to the long-term horizon, and this is an area of expected change over the next 25 years. A separate zoning request, development plan, and plan of services accompany this annexation request. Should the development plan and zoning not be approved as requested, an appropriate zoning district should be applied to this parcel, such as agriculture or estate residential. However, staff does recommend approval to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Thank you.
Okay, we're now ready for speakers for the public hearing. I'm going to call out the first 5 speakers. If you'll go ahead and line up. Krishna Mudaganda. Krishna Maranu. Ramesh Dungagala. Vareen Varamain. Karthi Sarah Mula. So please line up. Please. And if you don't come to the podium to speak, please line up now.
Yeah, thanks for giving opportunity for public. There are 2 aspects like I
Please
have.
give your name and address.
Sorry, my name is Karthi. I live in 1001 Rycroft Lane, Franklin, and this is like a mile away from the property, like next to property.
Excuse me, would you speak into the microphone?
Okay. So I live just a mile away from the property, and I have 2 concerns on the annexation. The first one is like that is like a crooked, very narrow road. And when from hearing from the first meetings, like aldermen's, like hearing what I heard is they said we are going to do the 4-lane roads for the Karathus Road, and we are going to widen the roads. So there are lots of proposals has been provided, but nothing is done. Before that, you are going to provide annexation. So you're going to provide more traffic without infrastructure. So that's my concern, first concern. The second is, this is not the right fit. It's a community, is like it's not a commercial place where we have to be. It has to go to a commercial place, not a residential. The property is completely surrounded with residential. So that's one of my concern.
Thank you.
Thanks for.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Hello, my name is Krishna Maramu, and I live in 731 Beeman Drive, Franklin, Tennessee. Thanks for providing this opportunity. It's a great honor. And I would like to raise these concerns, like as we were mentioning, like the main concern is about the location where the traffic is being very high as currently, which is being going on. And even because of that concern, we have more traffic coming in and the commercial sector being built, and we have this residential area where we have this concern. And I would like to please look into this and do the right justice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had 3 speakers I called, and they didn't come. I'm going to say your name one more time and give you one more opportunity. Krishna Metaganda, Ramesh Dundagala, and Vareen, you write like me, Varanane. So those people have not come forward, so we'll now call the next 5. Michelle Sutton, Nicole Smith, Dan Oswald, Sonia Stokes Beasley, Swatha from Headwater Drive,
Michelle Sutton, 316 Irvine Lane in Ladd Park. To quote Nashville Mayor David Briley, Nashville isn't about getting bigger, it's about us living better, not about what we can build, but about the people and communities we can build up. We understand that you need a new place to grow. But just like every place, there's the right place. I find it very difficult to rationalize that an organization would be willing to cause harm to those around them by putting their wants and needs at the forefront. And to this point, the alderman and mayor, you guys were voted in office by the people of Franklin to serve the betterment of the people of Franklin. I, as well as the residents of Long Lane, and the majority of Ladd Park oppose the annexation and rezoning. The issue is not the intended use of the commercial property, but rather it being rezoned as such. We would feel the same way if it were a shopping mall, a daycare, a restaurant, or anything commercial that was going in. Throughout these 8 months, it has become increasingly evident that Envision Franklin is being treated as the must-do in these situations. And it has become apparent that there were decisions made, and I'll finish on the next one. Thanks.
My name's Dan Oswald. I live at 4323 Long Lane, so my property is just south of the shared driveway with the proposed property here. I'm against the annexation. My issue and biggest concern and what I want to raise with you guys, in speaking to a number of the members of this board, stated that you were surprised that our land, our property, was included in the Envision Franklin overlay for mixed use. Even was indicated that it might have been an oversight to have included our homes, which were there for 15 or 20 years before the Envision Franklin plan was put into place. We had our homes there. And so to come in now and annex this land and change it to mixed use and take away the homes or diminish the value of our homes that we have in those properties, the single biggest investment most of us are going to make, that's going to go away. And if you look at the Envision Franklin plan, if you look at my property specifically, half of my land is deemed preservation. So if in the future I have to sell my land to a developer for mixed use to get some of my investment back, I only can sell half of my property. This type of annexation is killing the value of my home. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole Smith. I live at 4044 Sweetberry Drive in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a board member for the Refuge Center for Counseling. I just want to make it clear that if the Refuge Center does anything, it builds people up. It builds our community up, and we bring no harm. I think there have been some misconceptions about the people that we serve and those people coming into the community. I'd like to make it clear that the people we serve are you. The people we serve are me. They are our colleagues, our friends, our neighbors. I just watched a video of one of our clients who is an 80-year-old woman who came to the Refuge Center when her husband passed away after a 10-year battle with Alzheimer's. That's something that could happen to any of us. We're going to be good neighbors, and I think that the annexation of this property will allow us to build Franklin up even more. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Sonia Stokes Beasley. I live at 2022 Memorial Drive in Franklin, 37064, which is right there in Ladd Park. I am a longtime resident of Franklin. My husband and I, our entire extended families have been born and raised here in Middle Tennessee. I love this place. I chose Ladd Park to raise my children, hope to be there long term. Could have lived anywhere in Middle Tennessee and chose specifically after moving 5 times with my husband after we married, Ladd Park, and that's where we want to be. So we're here and we are in favor of Refuge. There are people who are against and who oppose in Ladd Park against this, but not all. There are a lot of us who are in favor of this facility, and they are going to be amazing neighbors. I know Amy Alexander, the director, and understand their mission very well, and have friends, family, neighbors, everyone who's benefited from their services. These aren't services for other people or people we don't know. These are services for us, and we need this in our community. This is a need, and they're going to be an amazing neighbor for Ladd Park. So I really encourage you guys to consider allowing them to be there.
Swetha from Headwater Drive. Please give us your full name, if you would.
Hi, I'm Savita. My address is 1001 Rycroft Lane, Franklin 37064. In my opinion, the proposed refuge center is not a good fit in this area because it's more of a residential neighborhood, and we don't have a good road infrastructure which I think it's not suitable for the refuge center, and I think it will pose some security issues for both for the residents and also the refuge center. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Michael Bennett, Carissa Weist, Dwayne Allison, Steve Abernathy, Jeff Skillen, and Julie Abernathy.
Excuse me. Thank you. My name is Michael Bennett. I live at 2076 Scenic Gulf Drive. My wife and I are the owners of the Bennett property on Long Lane, and we have been paying our taxes for over 30 years in Williamson County, for the record. I would just simply point out that when we purchased the property from Mrs. Moss in 1997, it was part of the Franklin City urban growth at that time. Well, we knew that, and we always knew that in terms of what it would be. And in 2017, we received a letter from the city of Franklin that said they were going to adopt Envision Franklin, and gave us a date, the time, and the place to come if we had anything to say about or objected to that particular motion that was adopted by the city of Franklin in this process. So we certainly would support and do support our community, and would continue to do so, and have loved living here for well over 35 years. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carissa Weist. I'm at 332 Beeman Drive, Franklin, Tennessee, 37064. I'm here on behalf of actually the Political Interest Committee, which I chair. We've received 18 emails in support of the Refuge Center and 392 against it. Part of the reasons of against it actually have to do with more the overreach of government, as in we are in a subdivision, just like the gentlemen and ladies that you see behind us, that it actually formed a subdivision, and now Envision Franklin is allowing one individual to break up that subdivision. Individuals who are not from this country, do not understand our laws, are very concerned about this, and I do feel, as speaking for the minority of this, as we have been challenged numerous times since going forward, just asking questions about that, if our individuals even have voting rights here, if they are actually nationalized citizens. These are the things we've been dealing with. I just want to speak out onto that fact. And once again, this is about annexation, not about services, plans, good thoughts. It is about, can the city actually make a subdivision subdivide? Thank you.
Mayor and Alderman, again, Dr. Dwayne Allison, again, zip code 37064. So we've been sitting very politely listening for the last several hearings to what some may consider to be preaching about how we're afraid, we have fear, afraid of growth, fear of this, fear of that. This is not about fear at all. This is about faith. It's about good faith versus bad faith. Good faith says there are covenants in place that as neighbors in a neighborhood we've come into agreement on, registered with the county, and have lived in good faith. To me, bad faith would be to sever that in the interest of one outside party. So there is no high moral ground from those that wish to come into this. We all do good things in our work every day, and we all are part of this community. So thank you very much.
I'm Steve Abernathy. I live at 152 Clyde Circle in Ladd Park. I support the annexation request by the Bennett family for the 7 acres on Long Lane. Williamson County property owners have the option to request annexation into the city. The 6-month process developed by the Planning Commission provides valuable information to property owners, potential buyers, surrounding property owners, and our aldermen who are responsible for making the final decision on whether to annex. This property currently borders the city limits of Franklin on 2 sides and sits in the urban growth boundary. The hilltop overlay fits perfectly into the eventual plan for the property and will ensure the Refuge Center will be neighborhood friendly. During the BOMA meeting on May 28th, Alderman Martin explained the reasons for her support of this request that will allow the Refuge Center to be built on this site, and I agree with her statements. In closing, this process has provided the information you need to make the best decision possible for the citizens of Franklin. Thank you.
My name is Jeff Skillen. I live at 178 Clyde Circle in Ladd Park, zip code 37064. I'm here to lend my support for the proposed annexation plan to the Bennett property. I support the work and mission of the Refuge as well as the proposed development. I follow this conversation very closely, and I feel compelled to speak on 2 points tonight. Number one, I want this body to know that those in opposition speak only for themselves. They do not represent me, nor do they represent the majority of our neighborhood. I do not want the positive public perception of our neighborhood to be represented by a small number of people who are guided by narrow self-interest. Beyond all the noise and drama, isn't this just simply a property rights issue? Last time I checked, we lived in a city, county, state, and country where the rights and wishes of property owners weigh heavily upon their disposition of property. Not only do I support the rights of property owners like the Bennett family, I also support and respect the process that has been followed. Additionally, I support their sentiments and intentions in spirit of collective community altruism. In conclusion, I'm confident that this body can recognize the significant difference between altruism and NIMBYism. I'm also confident that this body will make an informed decision about what's best for Franklin. Thank you.
My name is Julie Abernathy, and I live in Ladd Park at 152 Clyde Circle. Because I was born a few blocks from here in Dan German Hospital, I've probably seen more change in Franklin than most anyone in this room. So I'm sympathetic to my neighbor's aversion to change. However, I must support the Refuge Center, even with changes it will bring. I taught in the Franklin Special School District for 20 years, and I have seen children and families in crisis. When you hear the stories of physical and emotional abuse, or you find out children have started cutting themselves in order to take their mind off their emotional pain because the physical pain overrides it and it is easier for them to take, or you find out a former student has committed suicide because they just can't take it anymore, you wonder, what could I have done? Many of these students came from neighborhoods in Franklin similar to Ladd Park. We can no longer afford to have our families told we don't take insurance or told their name's going to be put on a waiting list, and we hopefully will have someone to get to you in 6 months or a year from now. Because the families in our city and county are in crisis, I would like to ask Mayor Moore and the aldermen to please support the annexation of Long Lane for the future site of the Refuge Center. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call out a list of names again. Mahendra Koshana, Kim Blakely, Yogesh Sharma, Sobhan Kakumani, Joey Blakely, Greg Ross, Momit Aurora.
Hi, my name is Shobhan Kakumani. I live in Ladd Park area, 738 Newcomb Street, Franklin, Tennessee, 37064. I oppose this refugee center because it's not a commercial area, it's a residential area, and it's not going to be a good fit for our community and area. Thank you.
Good evening. This is Yogesh Sharma from 629 Newcomb Street, Franklin, Tennessee, 37064. And I live a mile away from the proposed land. I oppose the annexation, not because we are not in the favor of the refugee center. There is a misconception. We fully agree that there should be a refugee center, but should not be at the location wherein it is proposed right now. There is a residential community subdivision, thousands of houses. There are 2 schools, Oakview Elementary and a new school in build phase right now, Creekside. And the infrastructure around this location, the road around this location, we already see the traffic coming from the agriculture center, and we are expecting more traffic to come, which is not safe and secure for the community. Thank you.
Joey Blakely, 4338, 4334 Long Lane. So the land in this area is pretty unique. I've been in front of you guys several times to mention that fact. We do have a hilltop overlay, and Dan brought that up very eloquently about how much property value he stands to lose. The real issue is that this annexation and rezoning will leave my neighbors with a reduced residential value and a pitiful amount of commercial property due to the hilltop overlay. It should have never been included in Envision Franklin process as a overlay of commerce. As a resident in this area who has a couple of mailboxes, I have never received a letter from Envision Franklin stating that that property across the street from me was going to be rezoned to regional commerce. I think most of my neighbors would echo that sentiment, so just want to make that very clear for the city of Franklin in a notification process going forward. As the city continues to annex and rezone property on Long Lane, we fully expect that some of it is within the urban growth boundary and Envision Franklin, and some of it is not. The difference between this property and that property is that that will be planned as a mixed-use development. A mixed-use planned development would be a great landing spot for the refuge. Land that's in a residential subdivision that is not in a residential subdivision would be a great landing spot for the refuge. Rezoning this land is not necessary, and it does harm. Thank you.
Hi. Kim Blakely, Joey's wife, 4338 and 4334 Long Lane in Franklin, 37064. As he said, you've seen him quite a few times up here. My husband has been working his butt off to fight for what's right and to fight for his neighbors. He has lost countless nights of sleep, worrying about what's to come with our community. During a time when we expected our city to fight for us as citizens, not many of you had the compassion for us that we needed, and only one of you has fought for us thus far. We need you to do the right thing and vote against this annexation and rezoning. It's our livelihood that's being affected, not yours. It's our future that's being affected, not yours. It's our property values that's being affected, not yours. Tonight, this opinion of mine can change, and the opinion of this board can change on what's really supposed to happen. It can start with you changing your vote right here tonight. Please do what's right. Please put yourself in our shoes. We need your help. We're asking for compassion and empathy from all of you and for the people surrounding this potential refuge building. We need this property to stay residential. Please help us fix this oversight. We cannot do this alone, and we need your votes to stand up and fight to have this reversed. Please help us. Thank you.
Greg Ross, 4321 Long Lane, Franklin. I do second everything that Ms. Blakely just stated. Putting a 15,000 square foot building in the middle of our zoned residential subdivision is not congruent with the existing neighborhood. 12,000 feet from existing houses is the agricultural center. The proposed building would be 100 feet from our homes and approximately 20 feet from our lot line. Now, it's been said this is a good transition into commercial. It's not congruent with anything of any type of zoning I have seen in Franklin. You got places like Cool Springs. It's all commercial there, and there they have apartment complexes, and there they have residential neighborhoods. And a smaller version is the part of Berry Farms that is built where Publix is. That has different neighborhoods. They have a town center, they have Publix with a strip mall, they have hotels, they have offices, but each of those are in different sections. And then they go into townhomes, and then they go into single-family homes. This is residential, and to take one lot out of a zoned residential community with covenants and restrictions and put an office building there, and then it's been stated that it is a good transition, doesn't make any sense. How could you have a commercial building and have houses?
You'll finish up, please.
Yes, sir. And then go quickly into, have a few more houses. Then we'll go in more commercial. It's either going to be commercial or it's going to be residential. And right now, we are residential with deeded covenants.
It's wrong in just so many ways, and I do thank you so much for your time.
Mohit Arora. I am at 943 Beeman Drive, Franklin, zip code 37064. As many of my dear neighbors who are against the annexation of this property, it's not about the refugee center or like singling out the facility. It's more about the refugee center doesn't make sense to put it right in the middle of a neighborhood which is completely residential. And as many of the neighbors pointed out, the infrastructure is not there. It would increase the traffic. It just doesn't make sense to put a single commercial property right in the middle of the residential neighborhood. Thank you.
Last chance for Mr. Kashana. We'll now call the next group. Ajan Reddy Yasa, Suman Jampani, Nate Eichelman, Megan Peak, Allison Dudica, and Virod, V-I-R-O-D.
I'm Anjan Reddy Yasa at 761 Beeman Drive, Franklin, Tennessee, 37064. I oppose this refugee center because if I put on my shoes like refugee, I choose all facilities around me, but this location, there is nothing in severe like weather conditions or anything of that sort. I'll probably choose like something CVS is nearby, walkable distance for the refugee, or convenience store around me in a walkable distance. But this location, it doesn't offer anything for the refugee. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Alderman. My name is Nate Eichelman. I live at 447 Finn-Horse Lane in Franklin, Tennessee, within Ladd Park, and I want to thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. I don't want to rehash anything that's already been said, but I will say that I do appreciate what the refuge does. But beside that, I do understand that some of the concerns from the opposition. But as far as a property value issue, I look at this as more of a supply and demand issue. I don't think that bringing more homes into the neighborhood would necessarily be good for our property values either, because it increases the inventory in kind of an already declining property market. And also, if a business is going to go into this piece of land, I can't think of a better plan than what the refuge is proposing. It'll be an attractive structure with open space, with limited hours, and of course a great mission. And I don't see a lot of the doomsday scenarios that those in opposition see. So I thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Megan Peak, 1056 Memorial Drive in Ladd Park. A point was brought up about students and how, I too have been there. I've taught students who have cut themselves. I've been to one of my students' funerals. I truly believe everybody needs help, love, and support. This refuge center has amazing goals. Again, it's not the refuge center's mission that we're against. It's just the location, being 20 feet from somebody's yard. I mean, it doesn't make sense. A lot of the refuge center people seem to live in Spring Hill, Thompson Station, Nashville. I mean, there's got to be in this big city another location that would just better serve everybody and not bring a turnout like this. Again, you're voted to represent your constituents, and I think a really great point was brought up about representing the people that actually live in 37064, mainly that map. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Allison Dudica. I live at 263 Irvine Lane, which is in the Highlands of Ladd Park community. And I oppose the annexation of the Bennett property. I also second the opposition that has previously been spoken to by my friends and neighbors. One of the primary reasons that my family chose to live in Franklin, in fact, this particular area of Franklin, was because it wasn't like Cool Springs. It wasn't like Brentwood. I can live there if I want to. I chose this particular area because it was unique. We felt that it truly reflected the unique character of Franklin and the area. We felt that it was in keeping with that small town feel, which is really, really unique and really, really hard to come by these days, as we all know. We love being surrounded by our beautiful neighborhood and our beautiful neighbors and all the beautiful land. We also know that growth and development is inevitable. We realize that our neck of the woods is really desirable. We get it, and we appreciate and respect the work of the Refuge Center. And we respect and appreciate the fact that you want to have a beautiful place to grow your mission. This isn't the place. It's just not. Commercial development of any kind simply does not belong here. It doesn't fit. It goes against the character of the area, and frankly, Envision Franklin missed the mark. We shouldn't be having this conversation right now. But I do appreciate the opportunity to be here in front of all of you. Thank you.
Last chance for Suman Japani and Virod. We'll now call the next group Savita, Melandrava Palanasamy from Ryercroft Lane, Sarah Eichelman, Srinava Valaga from New Court Street. Who lives at 720 Newcomb Street? I can't read your writing, so if you recognize that address, please get in line. It looks like it's Ibal Indavali, I believe, so please come forward.
Hi, I'm Sarah Eichelman. I live at 447 Fenhorse Lane, Franklin 37064. I live in the Carruthers Cove section of Ladd Park, and I can actually see the property and my neighbors on Long Lane from my deck in the backyard. I definitely understand the concerns of my neighbors about development and annexation. I also understand the concerns about property values. I've seen an increase in property values since my family moved here 4.5 years ago, and I think some of that is due to the development in the area. And I agree with what my husband said earlier around, more homes in my consideration would just add inventory and potentially decrease property values. I completely agree with the annexation of this property to the Refuge Center. I think it's responsible development and provides a much-needed service to the community. We received the community impact newsletter in the mail the other day, which stated that suicide is the top killer for 14 to 19-year-old boys or teens in our community, and I think this is a critical service, and I don't think we could annex to anyone better. And I also wanted to clarify, the Political Action Committee did not make a request for letters, at least to my knowledge, so I want to make clear that that's not representing the total Ladd Park community on the statement that was previously made. Thank you.
Is that all for the list I called? Savita, Melandrava Palansamy, Siranivas Valaga, and whoever lives at 720 Newcomb. I can't read your name, and I apologize. So we'll move on. Here's the next group. Mohan Kumar Kamaresan from 708 Newcomb Street. Anag Paul, 702 Newcomb Street. Sandeep Batra, 732 Newcomb Street. Saravanan Sivasankaran. Venkat Gautam. Devendranath Thoda. And Nayam Kumar Reddy Bonham.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Morgan. I live in 708 Newcomb Street, Franklin. I'm against the annexation of the refugee center. The people at Lad Park, we believed it is going to be a residential area, and that's one of the main reasons we picked up this property and we selected this location. Converting this into a commercial property, it is going to impact our property value as well as it is going to impose some threat to our residents here. So I would like everyone to consider this and vote for us. We believe in you all. Thank you.
Anang Paul, 702 Newcomb Street, 37064. Once again, like many of my colleagues, friends, I oppose the proposed building primarily because this is a residential area. Why put an office building in the middle of it? Doesn't make sense. And I don't think, I looked at nearby Franklin, Nashville. Do we have such buildings in some residential area? Possibly not. So I don't think that's the whole building fits into this area. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Saravanan Sivasankaran. I live in 719 Newcomb Street, Franklin. I oppose the annexation for the commercial property, but I'm not against the goal of the refugee center. But primarily, I bought a house assuming that it is going to be a peaceful neighborhood and residential complex. But now we are starting to make this land for some commercial activities. We don't want to. We want to keep this community and our subdivision as a residential, and with the infrastructure and other things, there's still already been a lot of traffic and other things. We want the board members to consider this and then take a good choice for the residents. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I am Venkat Gedam. I live in 632 Newcomb Street, exactly opposite road in the Lad Park, and I oppose annexation. There are two reasons, why I oppose annexation, because that will bring up more traffic. And if you look at, both the sides of the road, there's a one side, one elementary that is Oakview, other side new elementary is coming up, and a lot of residents and my fellow residents, everybody is, fearing that, that will bring up crime and that will bring up more traffic. So that's why I oppose it, annexation. Thank you.
Sir, my name is Devendra. I live at 726 Newcomb Street, which is a mile away from the proposed site. Sir, we all support the cause and need for setting up a refugee center. I am sure some of the people opposing the resolution here might have a family member who needs the services of refugee center, but still they are opposing it. Understand why? Because they live there, they know the place very well. They understand the location very well than anyone else. They know that this place is not convenient. This place is not suitable for a place like a refugee center, and that is why they are opposing the proposal. And also, my personal feeling, I feel the city should identify a proper place which is not inconvenient to the neighbors, and which also provides a convenient location for easy access to the people who are in need of these services. And I strongly feel like this kind of refugee center needs love and support of the community, but not a widespread opposition like this. And also, all those who are opposing, we would definitely pledge our complete support if it is identified at a right place and right location. Thank you.
Last chance for Mr. Batra from Newcomb Street and Nayam Kamar Reddy Bonham. Now, unless I missed somebody, if you think I missed you for the discussion on annexation or the public comment, please raise your hand. I declare the public hearing closed. And I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Appropriate motion. Is there a second? Second. Second by Alderman Martin. Open for discussion. Vice Mayor, you want to speak?
Yes. When you look out and you see all the many faces out here, and we sit up here, we're probably at a position where it's a no-win situation. We've got to pick one side or the other. We've got to make one decision or the other. And it's a difficult process that we go through. We've sat and listened to the Refuge Center, we've sat and listened to you guys, and we understand. I will say this, I don't agree with every statement that the ones that are against the annexation have said. Some of those statements, in far as covenants are concerned, the covenants are not in effect. They were as long as you're in the county. They're not in effect. And I'm going to ask this, where's the city? Would you mind addressing some of those? The covenants issue.
Well, the city's not a party to the covenants.
Right.
And whatever happens would happen privately between the owners.
Okay.
I mean, similar to allowing a neighborhood or a neighbor in a subdivision to get a permit for a fence. Maybe their HOA rules let them, maybe they don't, but we still have to give them the permit, and then they take it up with their HOA when they get back to their neighborhood. So it's private, it's a private agreement between two parties that we're not a party to that agreement.
And the other thing is, and again, we don't know. I don't believe in any shape, form, or fashion that it diminishes your property values. Historically, that's not been the case on anything that we've done. Running sewer lines someplace does not diminish your property values. It really and truly adds to the value of those. You've heard the developers or the applicants say that they're going to run the sewer line. It doesn't have to go through and down Ladd Park. It'll go through another area. We've got annexation issues coming before us for 27 parcels of property, south of that and west of that. We've got to deal with all of those issues. And I'm going to support the annexation. I think I've done that all pretty much through the process after listening to all of the comments that were made. And again, it's a situation where it's not an enviable situation for any of us sitting up here. We asked for the job. We've been given enough votes to do the job. And I'll do it to the best of my ability and to the information that I've listened to.
Any other comments, Alderman Bransford?
Well, I just want to make a little comment regarding property value, because I think I heard it twice here with, I think, Dan, you mentioned your home, and Ross, the proximity of the property to your property. Currently, the Refuge Center is where? Forest Crossing. Has the value of any home in Forest Crossing, who lived in Forest Crossing? Anybody? Have any value gone down?
I mean, I've lived there for about 11 years. I would say no, it's gone up every year. I think the Refuge Center's probably been there 8 or 9 years.
I'm trying to have a little debate here with my colleagues up here, so please respect me, and I've respected you. I want to kind of see if there's a correlation with the value of, and the Refuge Center is trying to grow, and so they therefore chose this site here. Envision Franklin, my other point. There was one family that said they got a letter and everything, and there was another family that said they did not receive anything regarding. Is that true? Did we communicate?
You're here.
Okay, I can't talk to you, I have to talk to these folks.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm just trying to put everything on the table here, because if we.
Yeah.
In regards to Envision Franklin, given that it's a guiding document, it is not zoning and regulation. We did not send out letters to individual properties. We did post signs, we did a public outreach, but we did not send individual letters.
Okay. Thank you, that explains that.
Thank you.
Okay. And I heard the word responsible development. That's going to be in the eye of the beholder. So, and I think I heard Vice Mayor mention that this area has several pending requests for annexation. And I guess I need the mayor to kind of confirm that, or someone from planning. I remember getting this document here that shows all of these properties that is either pending requesting annexation, or they are considering annexation, all in the same area. This is the property in question, and all of this is requesting.
In regards to the item that was discussed at the last work session with all of those, we do have some requests. I think there are 3 properties that we do have formal letters of request for annexation. And we have owner affidavits saying from all the other property owners that they're interested in pursuing annexation, but we do not have formal letters requesting that at this time from all of the properties on the map.
Okay, so there is more to come. Okay, that's something I want to share.
Amy, cover the total number.
It is 27 properties.
27, okay.
Yes.
I have Alderman Martin.
As Alderman Barnhill stated, this is not easy for us. If you look up here, you'll see some worried expressions. I will say I have received and carefully read all correspondence from you on both sides. A few weeks ago, I did state my reasons for the vote that I'm going to give. I understand about homes. I understand about the need for this counseling center. I hear what every one of you are saying, and we are not being we're not being insensitive to your needs and wants. Not one thing that we say up here is going to change the minds of these people. I understand that. And when we say we do not think that your property values will be hurt, I see people shaking their heads. I live around the corner from a beer parlor. It has not changed the value of my neighborhood at all. I understand that the things are going to happen, things are going to change, and I would like for you to take whatever comes to your neighborhood and work around it. You probably don't want anything, but something's going to come. The most fragile land that you can live in is vacant land around you in a city that is growing as fast as any in this country. And so just count on that. They're not always going to be cows there. They're not always going to be chipmunks.
Ma'am?
I understand you're upset, and I probably would be too, but that's where we are, and I appreciate your being here. I appreciate all the correspondence I've gotten, and I have gotten just as many residents from Ladd Park who are in support of this annexation and this center as I have from those who are opposed. That's all I want to say.
Alderman Berger.
Sure, thank you. Shauna, question for you, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Is this property any part of any covenant from Ladd Park or beholden to an HOA at Ladd Park?
No.
All right. Then am I correct, and if I remember back, that there was a deed restriction placed on the property by the original seller before Mr. Bennett bought it and eliminated any swine, poultry, mobile homes, junk cars, or homes smaller than 1,800 square feet. Is that correct?
That's what I've seen.
Yes. Okay. Just want to clarify that. Thank you.
Any other comments? You ready to vote?
Mayor.
Alderman McClendon.
Well, this one's a tough one. I try not to get too carried away with the altruistic or benevolent application to which this property is intended. Likewise, I try not to get too carried away with predictions of plummeting property values. The truth is, we don't know for sure what the impact of allowing this annexation and rezoning would be upon the property owners. I would say that, as Alderman Berger asked, the only covenant restriction that I've seen was one that applied to a handful of these properties, and that did not, in my view, direct one way or the other on this particular question. The Envision Franklin plan was worked on for a long time, and for better or for worse, it has identified this property and others around it for rezoning. It's not a binding document, it's a planning and guiding document, but it does mean something to us. But I think it's really important that we zoom out and really look at things we can know about what the future holds. And what we can know about what the future holds is there will be a bridge built at Long Lane in the foreseeable future that will dramatically impact this community. Reasonable people can disagree about whether or not that will be good or bad, but I don't think any reasonable person can say that it won't be a significant impact the minute we cut the ribbon on it. Likewise, Carruthers Parkway, widening and extension. Likewise, as we've now, as we've seen something approaching 2.5 dozen properties requesting annexation all around this property. The people who oppose this can, I suppose, fairly look at the Board of Mayor and Aldermen as it is currently composed and in the past and say that, well, these were all very poor decisions and you should have just left us alone down here on our 2-lane road with only what's here now and not done anything to facilitate or even encourage the growth that is coming. That, you could say that, and that would be a position that you could hold, and I wouldn't tell you you were wrong about that. That's an opinion. But those things have been decided, and those things have been planned. And regardless of the outcome of this particular rather small piece of property's rezoning or not, this Long Lane and Ladd Park are going to be profoundly different within a decade, no matter what we do tonight. So, if this really were a place where this was the pivot point upon which everything would either become different or not, I might feel differently. But I've looked at what the plans for this community and this neighborhood show us is going to happen. And in 10 or 12 years, this property will be, I'm not going to say insignificant because that would be pejorative and it would be offensive. But what happens on this parcel is not really what determines your future if you live on Long Lane or in Ladd Park or in the area. What determines your future is really bridges and roads that are coming no matter what. I think it's a close call. I'm sensitive to the people that don't want this done. I'm sitting here because 20-something years ago, I stood at that podium on my anniversary and opposed a developer's proposal to build something in my neighborhood that we didn't want. That is the only reason I've ever walked in this building at all. And I'm somehow still here. So I'm sensitive to the concerns of this neighborhood. I don't like to play the alternative horribles that can happen if this is not what's approved. I don't like to play that game because it's easy. It's too easy to play and too easy to rig. I think the refuge center, out of all the potential outcomes, is, I mean, short of someone coming along and saying, I'll buy it and build a home comparable to yours, I think you're probably going to be opposed to almost any other outcome. And I probably would be too if I were you. That said, I think the refuge center, given what is going to happen here in the foreseeable future, is not likely to be the thing that really changes your community one way or the other. It will be the first thing you see, maybe, but not likely the thing that really determine the outcome as far as your property values and quality of life go. As I said, it's a close call. I walking in tonight, I honestly was not sure how I would vote. I think in the end, I'm going to support it.
Any other comments? You ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll now move on to item number 10. This is a public hearing, consideration ordinance 2019-09, an ordinance to zone plus or minus 7 acres, general office, hillside, hilltop overlay, Goose Creek character area overlay 4D, and conventional standards for the property located south of Long Lane and east of Williamson County Agricultural Center.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The requested zoning for this parcel is general office. A separate resolution accompanies this zoning request for the corresponding development plan. Envision Franklin places this area into 2 separate design concepts, regional commerce and conservation. The general office zoning will support a transition in intensity for the larger regional commerce area. The hillside overlay will protect the steep slopes and vistas on the property. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, I have the following: Pike Williams, John Serring, Joey Blakely, Greg Ross, Sue Ross, Michelle Sutton, and Dr. Weston Crafton. Please.
Joey Blakely, 4338-4334 Long Lane. Just want to make a couple of quick statements. Number one, Mr. McClendon, at the last meeting, we did make an offer in contingency on the land to buy the property and turn it into a residential property. The neighbors in the area had done so. Just wanted you guys to know that and you to know that personally. You know, when I really think about neighbors in my neighborhood, and a lot of my neighbors have left because they feel like this is a losing battle, and I just want you guys to understand, I still believe in you guys as a board. I believe you want to do the right things. And the reason that I do it is because I grew up in a neighborhood in Old Hickory where there were times when my neighbors put clothes on my back, food in my mouth, and ultimately taught me how to work hard and earn what you get in life. And frankly put, my neighbors then and there are why I am fortunate enough to live in the city of Franklin right now. This is the kind of neighbor that I aspire to be, and the energy and efforts that I put into it that my wife mentioned are all a result of what I have put into this because of that. I just want to say to my neighbors in Ladd Park, many of which who have left, that they've proven beyond a doubt that the hardworking citizens and neighbors are what make Franklin and Williamson County great. I appreciate everything they've done to support and treat us neighbors on Long Lane as they would like to be treated as kids are taught in school with the golden rule. Perhaps naively, I'm pretty sure, I still believe our elected officials to do the same. Thank you.
Thanks, George.
Hi, my name is Pike Williams, and I live at 518 Hope Avenue in Franklin. Excuse me, we lived there for about 20 years now, and I've worked at the Refuge Center as a staff therapist since 2013, so a little over 6 years, and I also maintain a private practice in the Franklin area. And I guess I just want to say that that it's very difficult, and I didn't realize how difficult it was until I started looking myself, to find land and a space that is appropriate for the kind of work that we do, and that, the appropriateness of it is very important. In the mission statement of the Refuge Center, we talk about affordability and excellence. And so for us, that becomes very important. And so for our clients to come and to be able to come to a place that feels like a genuine refuge, a place of calmness, a place of peace, of privacy, where, let's face it, not everyone's comfortable going to a counseling center, and where they can come and get out of their car and walk into a building and feel like they're not on public display is real important. So it's appropriate, it's accessible, hugely important. We all know that. All you have to do is drive home from work, and you know how important accessibility is. And then, of course, the last thing is affordability. And we're so grateful that the Bennett's have put themselves in a position to offer this at a price we can afford. And so just want to say thank you to them. Thank you to all of you. This is hard work. I would not want to be in your position, and I appreciate the hard decisions you're making. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Weston Crafton. I'm the Director of Contract Therapists at the Refuge Center. I live at 4088 Lockerbie Circle. That's in Spring Hill, 37174. And so while I don't live in Franklin city limits, I work proudly at the Refuge Center. And, when I was listening tonight, I'm hearing a lot of us versus them, social constructs, zonings about residential versus commercial, but I also thought about what if we zoom out, because when you zoom out, you see people, and you see people at 37064 zip code. I see the wait list. I see people that are needing to come in. I see therapists who want to help. We just don't have the space. And so it would make sense to me with a looming mental health crisis. You guys can look at the news, you see it, to have a facility right where the people live, right where they can access it, right where they can be comfortable, and it can change lives, because that's really what we're talking about here. And so I also want to say that Refuge Center, we're not about division, we're about unity, bringing people together, finding collaborative solutions, and that's why we stand behind that general office PUD to establish more control for the city, and that's important. We stand behind that commitment. Thank you guys very much.
Okay, John Sering, Greg Ross, Sue Ross, Michelle Sutton, last chance. We'll now go to the next group. Kathleen Surfass, Monica Neubauer, Linda Crockett, Robert Mallory, Amy Alexander, Nistan Patel, Daniel Alexander. Feel free to just come on.
Thank you. I'm Monica Neubauer. I live at 218 Fowler Circle in Ladd Park. I'm a 40-year resident of Franklin and a 17-year realtor, and I want to thank you for the wisdom that I just heard on your board before the vote. Thank you. I agree with those things about, I've seen land and property values go up and up and up to most of our benefit, but to some people's challenges, as in the Refuge Center. I also have seen over these 40 years, many areas have to transition from residential and be rezoned to make way for the commercial growth in our area. And I would commend all of you, because I think many of those transition areas are very good and have been done with excellence. So thank you for concerning yourself with that. And that is my concern, just that whole corridor of Long Lane, that there be a gentle commercial buffer between the residential and the looming commercial area that's growing over along I-65. And I am support of the rezoning for the Refuge Center for that reason, because I think it is a good transitional property as we move into changes in that whole area. Thank you very much for your work.
I am Robert Malloy. I live at 158 Hobbs Drive in Franklin, Tennessee, a member of Ladd Park. Tonight when we came in, I was reminded of this great country. We said an invocation, we pledged to the allegiance, and it reminded me of an oath of office that I took in 1984. And for 22 years, I defended the right of everybody to have a constitutional right in the United States Army to have an opinion, and I stand by that oath. I'm going to challenge you tonight. Tonight I heard along the board predetermined decisions, how you feel. You expressed it before the rest of the public got to make their comments, and that concerns me. That concerns me about how we do business. There's been a pre-drawn conclusion, and it sounds like by members of the board, members of the BOMA. That concerns me as a citizen. What concerns me also as a citizen is the fact that we have a alderman that represents us who's never been out to that property to even vision it. Hasn't met with the community out there that they represent. The last time I checked, we are for the people, by the people. And I'm going to challenge you tonight, before you make your decision, to think about that. Think about your oath of office and what you swore to do. There's a lot of people that just walked out of this hall because they feel that the decision has been made by the comments that you've made. I'm going to challenge you tonight to think about the comments that the residents have made, those taxpayers, your constituents. And think about that before you make this vote. And think about what matters. It matters to us. It matters to them. Those people on Long Lane, I'll never see that refuge the way I drive. But my neighbors will. And I want us to be clear. We support the refuge and their mission. We just don't think that it's the right place for us. So again, I challenge you to your oath of office that you swore that you would do to represent the people that your constituents, and hear your constituents. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
If I'm not mistaken, we had a public hearing prior to board deliberation, if I'm not.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct.
Okay, please.
No comments were made until after the public hearing was
He's
closed.
going to leave and not listen.
Go ahead, Mr. Alexander.
Daniel Alexander. I live in Thompson Station, Tennessee. I am in support of the rezoning for the Refuge Center for Counseling for that particular rezoning. You know, and I think for me, you know, I love Franklin area. Our first home was in Franklin. You know, I was on the Leadership Franklin alumni when actually Mayor Moore's class. I've ran a charity in Franklin. I've lived and worked in Franklin, and so I know I am a taxpayer of Franklin. I know 50% of the revenue comes from sales tax. You know, another 20% comes from shared tax from the state. So I am a taxpayer in Franklin. So I would just, you know, I look at the map and I keep on hearing that it's in the middle of a residential neighborhood, and the zoning seems appropriate to me that it is right next to, it is adjacent to a property that is not residential, being the Ag Center. And to Mr. McClendon's point, also pointing out that development is coming, and it is going to be a major road there in a little bit. So I feel like the zoning is appropriate and support it.
Linda Crockett, 805 West End Circle, Franklin 37064, 8th generation Franklin resident, and have seen many changes. In fact, I was the last one to sell our home property from the territory grant at Cool Springs. So I have seen it go from farmland to very commercial under the leadership of this board, and think they have done tremendous job with all the growth in our city and managing that, and the multiple requests from different groups to make changes. I do see it coming down the road that it will grow. The city has identified it as a growth area, and I agree with it being a buffer area, going to more commercial and will benefit the neighborhood. I have also never seen a development approved by the city decrease the property values here.
Amy Alexander, 3846 Summers Lane, Thompson Station, Tennessee. So I had a speech prepared tonight about the mental health crisis and the mental health needs in this community, but I'm sure that all of you are very aware of that. What I want to tell you about is our t-shirts. It says, "It's my refuge." And I think our clients feel that. They feel that refuge is a place of refuge from them. That comes from that verse in Isaiah that talks about it will be a shelter from the storm and the rain and the heat of the day. So when our clients are facing storms in their lives, they know that refuge is their refuge. I think our staff and our board members would say refuge is their place of refuge. But my heart behind this shirt is that in the very near future, the city of Franklin, Ladd Park, and the neighbors along Long Lane would also say, "It's my refuge." We will be a great, compassionate, loving, listening neighbor. And I really hope and pray that all of the folks that were here tonight at some point will experience refuge as that for them too. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Patel. I live at 1235 Concord Hunt Drive in Brentwood.
I support the rezoning of the Long Lane land for the Refuge Center, and I've been part of Refuge Center for a few years now. Many times the point of first contact for many of our clients, helping with intakes, scheduling, greeting them, and I see the wait list that we have, but I also am witnessing healing and progress, and this is just happening inside of our doors every single day. And this land is so unique for us and to us because it's going to offer a type of holistic healing that we need to even better serve our clients than we are right now. And it really brings together the whole healing of the mind, body, and spirit that the other pieces of property could not offer. Every detail has been meticulously thought through. 60% of the land will remain basically untouched, offering these serene walking and hiking trails. I have seen it with my own eyes, how Refuge has healed so many from inside of its doors. Just imagine the healing that's going to happen in our whole community. You heal one person, you heal a whole community. So please support the annexation and the zoning. Thank you.
Last chance for Kathleen Surfass. Madeline Shore. Anita Pringle. Scott Myers. Steve Abernathy. Dwayne Allison. Doug Edwards. J. Edward Campbell, and Tiffany McGee. Please.
Hi, my name is Madeline Shore. I'm a resident of Nashville. My family lives here in Franklin and are here in support of the Refuge tonight. I'm also a staff member of the Refuge Center. We've heard concerns that Long Lane may present safety issues for cars entering and exiting the Refuge Center. Due to these concerns, the Refuge Center paid for a traffic study, which was not required. The City of Franklin and its third-party traffic engineer reviewed the study. The study found that the proposed building and use will have negligible impacts on Long Lane and no improvements were required. However, the Refuge Center, at its own discretion, is including a turn lane to address the safety concerns expressed by the neighbors. Thank you.
Steve Abernathy, 152 Clyde Circle, Ladd Park. I support the rezoning request by the Bennett family that will allow the Refuge Center to be built at this site. Steve Hinesley, a Ladd Park resident, couldn't attend tonight, and he gave me permission to share his Facebook post. Everything I know about the Refuge Center is positive. If one high school kid going back and forth to Page High sees the sign and decides to ask for help, it will be worth it. The rezoning process has allowed residents multiple opportunities to express their support or opposition to this request. I believe the issues presented by both sides have been addressed and will ensure the Refuge Center will be a valuable addition to our community. Some residents fear a negative impact on their property values if the Refuge Center is built on Long Lane. I understand their concerns because it is difficult to predict the future housing market in such a fast-growing area. However, I believe the opening of Dave Ramsey headquarters with 1,000 employees this summer, the future addition of the Southeast Park and the Discovery Center on Carruthers Parkway, the proposed commercial development plan for Berry Farms, and the completion of Long Lane will ensure the value of our homes will actually increase. Thank you for this time to speak.
I'm Anita Pringle. I'm the clinical director at the Refuge Center for Counseling. I live at 3085 Commonwealth Drive in Spring Hill. I do live in Spring Hill, but I work 2 jobs in Franklin. I shop in Franklin. I worship in Franklin. And I'm a happy part of the Franklin community. I attended the joint conceptual workshop when the Planning Commission met and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and it was clear in that meeting that many of you felt the property should be zoned general office PUD to establish more control for the city in this location. And this is exactly what the Refuge Center has provided, and we stand behind those commitments. We are seeking a PUD overlay which restricts present and future uses and gives the control of future plans to the aldermen and the Planning Commission. Also, after reading through Envision Franklin, the city's long-range plan clearly supports development at greater intensities than what is being proposed. The policy in this area would support a 6-story building. The Refuge Center is only 2 stories. I believe that the Refuge Center will fit and be a beautiful and serene addition to the Long Lane Corridor. My colleagues and I appreciate your vote, but more importantly, our clients will appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Doug Edwards, 2521 Bellbrook Drive in Franklin, 37067. I wanted to just talk a minute about the transitional element. So as referenced in Envision Franklin, as you look at the corridor around the Ag Center and I-65 and all the significant growth that we're talking about in the future, we intentionally designed the refuge as that transitional element to have a much more blended look, residential versus commercial. So it's intentionally designed with the function of that transitional element as heavy used transition from the Ag Center and I-65 to areas just like Ladd Park in single dwelling attached homes. So the specific language called out in Envision Franklin is our Envision as well to accommodate that. So thank you.
J. Edward Campbell, 1809 Turning Wheel Lane, Franklin, 37067, a proud resident of Franklin since 1976. I'm a board member at the Refuge Center, and at the very beginning of our property search, we set out to find a property that offered seclusion and privacy for our clients. The whole premise of the Refuge Center is to offer a retreat from the chaos of life, and we all know about the chaos of life. The property is large and allows us the opportunity to conceal the campus behind the trees there. The building is set back well beyond the minimum requirements of the zoning ordinance so that we can establish buffers adjacent to all the neighbors and protect the tree lines on the property and on the property boundaries, and there will be additional landscape where there's needed. The parking lot will definitely be buffered from views along Long Lane, and we intentionally have designed a low-profile 2-story building that will blend in with the neighborhood so that we can convey a secluded and welcoming presence to everyone. This afternoon, I picked up this T-shirt at the Refuge Center, and I said to the lady behind the counter, I'm a board member, and she gave me the T-shirts for me and my wife. As I walked back out, a client tapped me on the shoulder, and she said, did I hear you say you're a board member? And I said, yes, ma'am, I am. And she said, please tell the rest of the board and the director and everybody, thank you, because this center has made a tremendous impact on my life and my family. So I would encourage you to vote for the rezoning and the annexation. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tiffany McGee. I live at 2136 Sugar Mill Drive in Nolensville, Tennessee, 37135. I currently serve as the board intern for the Refuge Center, and I'm so thrilled to be here to speak not just on behalf of the Refuge Center, but on behalf of children and youth and young adults that struggle with mental illness. As a young child, I was unfortunately able to witness friends that experienced life's tragedies at a young age. I had a good friend, a dear friend, who was molested. I had another friend who tried to take her own life because her father had an affair and her family began to fall apart. And I'm so fortunate to have been raised in a county like Williamson County, where we were provided great teachers and public services and libraries and parks. And I want to continue that legacy of creating community. And in doing so, mental health is incredibly important for our communities to thrive. And so I do want to just say that I'm incredibly blessed to be in a county that supports mental health, and that you all are taking these steps. And I just want to commend you on your courageous action to step into this space. So thank you.
Okay, Dwayne Allison and Scott Myers, your last chance. I declare the public hearing closed. I would entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second. Appropriate motion, second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
I just want to clarify, Mr. Mayor, you had mentioned that we had public hearing. I just want to reiterate that again. We did have public hearing before any of us are speaking on these issues. The annexation, we did not speak on that until after the public hearing was closed. Same with the zoning. You know, this is not a done deal. It's not making up your mind coming in here saying, I'm closed-minded, I'm making up my mind. This has been a long process. Y'all have been coming how long? A year and a half? And we've had many meetings. We've had many meetings with both sides being heard. This board has listened very carefully and been extremely, we've paid close attention to everything that people have said. We've answered emails. I've driven to the property, I've walked it, I've been out that area. But I don't think, it's necessary that we all meet with everyone all the time, but, we made sure that we educated ourselves. And I've seen my colleagues up here attend all these meetings and sit and listen and speak and ask questions. Making up our minds individually here as a board is a process. And we've been very diligent. I know I have, and I know my colleagues here have been very diligent to listen, to research, to read the materials that planning and engineering and all the departments have given us. The decision has based on all this, coming for a long, long time. And the gentleman that mentioned that tonight, this was like a done deal, I guess he didn't wait to hear the answer. He didn't wait to hear us speak. He said that we've made up our minds and we've spoken before we heard the people speak tonight. We have not spoken before the people spoke tonight. We've spoken every single time after the people have spoken at these meetings. So the gentleman left, and a couple of the gentlemen left, and most of the people over there on this side have left before our comments have been made tonight. So I would take issue with that, and I would like to just correct the record to say that I think this board goes above and beyond to try to be extremely fair and to listen to all points of view, to consider everything that staff gives us, and they do a phenomenal job to make sure that they are fair and above board, that they interpret our policies, our land use plans, our ordinances, so that we have all the information we need to make an informed decision tonight, and I will be supporting this zoning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Passes 6-1. Next is item number 11, public hearing. Consideration resolution 2019-29, a resolution approving the development plan for the Refuge Center for Counseling PUD subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The development plan will regulate the building form, placement on site, and overall access to the site. The development plan and general office zoning complies with Envision Franklin by 1, providing the least intensive commercial zoning on this site, 2, providing an office building with residential design features and scale, 3, clustering all development on the portions of the lot under the regional commerce design concept, 4, preserving the portion on the lot covered by conservation design concept, and 5, providing an additional landscape screen and compatible setbacks along Long Lane to mitigate the transition of uses from single-family residential to an office use on this site. Staff recommends approval.
Okay. We have the Nate Eichelman, Catherine Hofstetter, Dwayne Allison, Steve Abernathy, and Carl Roberts.
Thank you again. My name is Nate Eichelman, 447 Finn-Horse Lane, Franklin, Tennessee. I'll be very brief. One of the reasons I supported this, the refuge, is because they seem to make a lot of concessions to the development of this property and development of the building plan, including the aesthetic features. So I think it's going to be beautiful. If everything goes, it'll be a beautiful addition. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, Catherine Hofstetter with the Refuge Center. I live in Nashville, and what my point has already been said about the transitional aspect of the property and just being so consistent with the language of Envision Franklin. And I did just want to mention that we've really tried very hard to hear the concerns and Our amazing team has addressed the neighbors concerned every step of the way as best they can. And so I feel very proud of our team for doing such an amazing job with that and already starting to be a good neighbor. So thank you all for your words tonight. Also, over 60% of our clients are from Williamson County. There's been a lot of talk about services, but yeah, that's a lot of people each year, thousands.
Steve Abernathy from Ladd Park. I support the resolution approving the development plan for the Refuge Center on Long Lane. I first saw the development plan for the Refuge Center on November 29th of last year. Since that time, there have been multiple opportunities for residents to express their support or opposition to this request. Information shared during those meetings will help make the Refuge Center safer and more neighborhood-friendly. The Refuge Center doesn't just serve low-income families. In fact, 70% of their clients earn between $35,000 and $85,000 per year. These are our police officers, our teachers, our firemen, GM workers, the backbone of our city. It is encouraging to see the overwhelming majority of Ladd Park residents agree the Refuge Center does amazing work. There are some residents who believe the Refuge Center should locate elsewhere. I believe there are benefits in having them close to Ladd Park, allowing them to increase their capacity to help even more families, and establishing an acceptable model for the rest of Long Lane outweigh those concerns. In closing, I'm asking you, the leaders of our city, to approve this request for all the citizens of Franklin. Thank you for your service to our community.
My name's Carl Roberts. I live at 1202 Scrambler's Knob. I also have a home in Echelon, and my son and his family live in Fenhorse Lane, which is in Carruthers Cove and looks out on the property that Refuge Center. Obviously, you know I'm in support of this particular development, and I won't repeat the things that I've said before, but I do want to thank you all for reading my email and for acknowledging that. So thank you for what you do, and our commitment to the city and to our neighbors is that we will be good neighbors, and we have listened to their concerns and altered our plans as we have moved forward so that we will not be intrusive on our neighbors in that area. Thank you.
Last chance for Dwayne Allison. Okay, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed, and we'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Appropriate motion, second by Alderman Berger. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Passes 6-1. We'll now move on to new business. Consideration resolution 2019-63, a resolution authorizing condemnation for 801 Crescent Center Drive. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 13, consideration ordinance 2019-11, an ordinance regarding the disposition of surplus real property. First of two readings.
Move for approval.
Appropriate motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 14, consideration of approval to enter a construction agreement with AT&T regarding relocation of aerial and fiber lines that are currently mounted to Middle Tennessee Electric member cooperative poles on site near the City of Franklin Fire Station number 7.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Bransford. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 15, consideration ordinance 2019-21, an ordinance to amend Title 17 Municipal Solid Waste Disposal for the purpose of eliminating commercial dumpster services provided by the City of Franklin.
Move for approval.
Appropriate motion by Alderman Berger, seconded by Alderman Speedy. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 16, consideration ordinance 2019-22, an ordinance to amend Appendix A, comprehensive fees and penalties for the purpose of eliminating commercial dumpster services provided to the City of Franklin.
Move for approval.
Appropriate motion by Alderman Bransford,
Second.
Seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 17, consideration of Resolution 2019-62, a resolution to rescind Resolution 2019-55, a resolution awarding the third-party administrator contract for the city's workers' compensation program to PMA companies in the amount of $73,978. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 18, consideration of City of Franklin contract number 2019-018 with Mill Crofton Utility District of Williamson County, Tennessee for domestic and fire sprinkler water services for the City of Franklin, Tennessee Fire Station number 7. Is there a motion?
Yeah, let's, if I could, we'd like you to phrase that, and Shauna can help me on this, as a motion to authorize the city administrator and city attorney to work with, to develop an agreement with Mill Crofton to provide water service to Fire Station number 7, domestic water service to Fire Station number 7.
Consideration City of Franklin contract 2019-18 with Mill Crofton Utility, authorizing the city administrator to work to develop a contract with Mill Crofton for domestic and fire sprinkler water services for the city of Franklin.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Is that clarified enough?
That gives me some authority to work. Yeah. There is a contract number on the, what he described, so do we just want?
2019-18.
Domestic, yeah.
Okay, ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Is there any other business to come before this body? If not, I will recognize Alderman McClendon.
I move we adjourn until the air conditioning is fixed.
Second.
Appropriate motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Could be a while.
Huh?
The new city hall, right?
I meant that literally, and it was just approved unanimously.